In this episode, we talk about Nikhil Gupta, who has been accused of being involved in the murder plot of the Khalistani separatist Gurpatwant Singh Pannun. We also talk about the rising number of fatalities due to heat stroke in the capital. But first, we talk about Chhattisgarh. Hi, I am Niharika Nanda, and you are listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. Last Saturday, 8 Maoists were killed in an encounter in the state's Narayanpur district. This encounter was a part of a series of anti-Naxal operations that have been carried out in the state. In fact, a total of 136 Maoists have been killed within just the first 6 months of the year, the highest since the state was formed in 2000. To understand the reasons behind the increase in the encounters and the strategy that the government has adopted to address the growing issue of Naxals in Chhattisgarh, we have Indian Express's Jayprakash S Naidu joining us. Also, a quick note, the words Maoists and Naxals have been used interchangeably here. Jayprakash, can you begin by talking about the encounter that happened on 15th of June in the state?
Yes, so the Saturday's encounter which took place on June 15th, the security forces were acting on specific information that the PLJ cadres are hiding in Abujmad. So, acting on the information, a team set out about 55 kilometers away from the Narayanpur district headquarters in a place called Kutul, Farsebeda and Kodameta. These three places are in Abujmad. Here they came across the Maoists, and in the encounter 8 of them were killed, and one Jawan named Nitesh Eka, 27 years of age, from the Special Task Force. He was killed in the encounter. Now this PLGA stands for People's Liberation Guerrilla Army. It is a part of the banned Communist Party of India Maoist. So this particular operation was a part of a larger anti-Naxal operation named Mad Bachao Abhiyan, Save Mad from Naxalism. So you need to understand that Abujmad is a land which is larger than the state of Goa, and it is still unsurveyed, and hence it has become a safe haven for top Naxal leaders. So since this year, this is the 5th major operation in Abujmad, and a total of 58 Maoists have been killed in Abujmad this year.
And for those who may not already know, could you talk a bit about the history that Chhattisgarh has had with Maoists?
So it's a long history. It began in the 1980s when Naxalites from neighboring undivided Andhra Pradesh came here, and the landscape of Bastar was a perfect setting for the Naxalites to take their movement forward. For Maoists, it's a protracted war, and as the Indian government was still to reach several places in Bastar, like for example Abujmad, it helped the cause of Maoists to spread their ideology in the villages.
And this year, a total of 136 Maoists have been killed in the state. Can you talk about the increase in the anti-Naxal operations and the state's strategy behind this?
So firstly, it's important to mention that this year, the highest number of Maoists have been killed since the formation of Chhattisgarh. The second highest being in the year 2016 when 134 Maoists were killed. I did ask this question to Chhattisgarh's Home Minister Vijay Sharma, and he was telling me that the manpower of security forces has not been increased much, but the resolution of government has changed. And he said that killing Naxals is not their strategy to end Naxalism. It's just a small part of their larger strategy, which includes rehabilitation of surrendered Naxals, ensuring they all get government facilities. Then, they are coming up with a good surrender policy very soon, and they will be having special relief measures for victims of Naxalism, like, those getting injured or getting killed in IED blast, which are, put by Naxals to keep the security forces away from the forest. And finally, ensuring that no new people are recruited by the Maoist. And also, Union Home Minister Amit Shah has been saying quite a lot that they will end Naxalism in the next 2 to 3 years.
Right, and this ongoing conflict has also led to a lot of casualties. You write that since 2001, 1,723 villagers have been killed, over 1,287 security personnel have been killed, and 1,236 Maoists have been killed. But we understand that over time the security forces have managed to learn from their past mistakes.
Yes, for example, last year 25 security personnel were killed and 10 of them were killed in a single attack in Dantewada IED blast. Also, there was a time when 200 Jawans were killed in a single year in 2007 and another 171 Jawan were killed in a single year in 2010. Now, a decade later, the casualties faced by Jawan have come down by a lot, and speaking with me, Inspector General of Bastar region Sundar Raj told me that they have learned from their mistakes, the strategies have changed, they are better equipped now.
And Jayprakash, over the last couple of years, Chhattisgarh has seen both a Congress government and a BJP government. Was there a difference in their approaches towards this entire Naxal issue?
Well, one thing is very clear, which reflects in the numbers. On an average, every year, 16 to 17 police camps were being made in the previous Congress government over the past 5 years. And now in the first 5 months, 32 police camps have been made in core areas. Now this police camp, they act as a forward base for security forces to, set out for an Naxal operation. In the Congress rule, a total of 210 Naxals were killed in the past 5 years, whereas now in the first 5-6 months, 136 Maoists have been killed in less than 6 months. Previously, 112 Naxals were killed in 2018 when BJP was in power. That was the highest, and now 136 have been killed. This 136 is being all-time highest since the formation of Chhattisgarh.
And over the years, have any questions been raised about human rights violations, given that so many Maoists and innocent villagers have died in IED blasts and crossfire? What do the authorities have to say about that?
Yes, so, activists have been raising question marks on the encounters, and this has also happened from the family members of those who have died and been, alleged as Maoists. So this happened in Kanker, it happened in Pedia, it happened in Bijapur. So I did put this question to Home Minister Vijay Sharma. He said that it's extremely rare and mostly it is Maoist propaganda. And after these allegations are made, they check the criminal record and they find out that they were Maoists, they had cases against them. They do roam around with weapons wearing uniforms of, PLGA, and when they are shot, they make such claims. This is what Vijay Sharma had to say. And as far as, talking about villagers dying in crossfire or dying in ID blast, he is of the opinion that the police always act with a lot of patience. And, IDs which are planted by Maoists, even that IDs have led to a lot of deaths. Even this year, some 6 people have died in ID blasts. So as per his claims, the forces operate with a lot of patience. And God forbid if somebody gets injured, then the entire staff tries to save the villager, unlike Naxals who slit their throat. So while saying that, Naxals slit their throat, he was referring to this Jan Adalat. Now, Jan Adalat, you can translate it to People's Court. So Maoists, what they do is, if they suspect that if there is some person from the village who is acting as a police informer, then they, set up a People's Court where they decide what punishment should be given. And there are several murder cases, where after giving the judgment, Maoists kill these villagers. So he was saying that the number of villagers who are killed in this Jan Adalat is much more than the number of people killed in wars.
And you also mention in your story that there are Naxals who want to surrender as well. Do the authorities say anything about them?
So Vijay Sharma said that for them, we are coming up with a new surrender policy. Through mediators, he has also sent them Google forms saying the Naxals themselves can say what they want if they want to surrender. And he says that about 85% of the Naxals want to surrender, but they are not able to do that because of the rest 15% who don't want to give up the armed struggle. So it seems like the way things are continuing, they'll continue to be like that. The police will be more aggressive and we will be seeing many more encounters this year.
And next we talk about Nikhil Gupta's extradition to the US. Last June, the 52-year-old Indian national Nikhil Gupta was arrested in Prague after being accused by the US authorities of involvement in a plot to kill the Khalistani separatist Gurpatwant Singh Pannun on American soil.
He heads the banned organization called Sikhs for Justice. It's banned in India and he's also a designated terrorist in India. So he heads that, and he also holds American and Canadian dual citizenship.
That's Indian Express's Divya A.
So, as per the Department of Justice indictment, which came out later, Gupta was accused of, being involved in a plot to kill Pannun, and also of hiring like a hitman and also paying him some money in advance to execute this assassination plot.
Now, the allegations against Gupta also state that he was allegedly acting on behalf of an Indian government official whose identity is yet to be revealed. Last week, Gupta, who has of course been denying the allegations against him, was extradited from the Czech Republic to the United States. In this segment, Divya joins us to discuss the latest developments in the matter. Divya, Nikhil Gupta was arrested in Prague last year, as you mentioned. Can you tell us what happened after that?
Yeah, so the US and the Czech government, they have a bilateral treaty under which, they can even seek extradition of an accused which is wanted in one country. So under that, when Gupta landed in Prague last year, almost exactly a year ago, he was apprehended by the Czech authorities on the intimation by American government. And he was there arrested on behalf of his indictment in America's, Code of Justice. And then consequently, he was supposed to be extradited to America, but he challenged his, extradition in various courts. And so this process took 1 year. But finally, what we hear now is that on June 14, last week, he was finally extradited to America. He is currently lodged in a jail in New York and was produced in the court even on Monday.
And what are the things that Gupta has done to challenge the charges that have been levied against him?
So immediately upon his arrest in Prague, his lawyers in India had also filed a petition in Indian Supreme Court saying that, his family is not aware of his whereabouts. He's not in touch with his family. He's not allowed to be in touch with his family. So some kind of, like a human rights and the rights of an Indian citizen kind of a case. So that also was there. Meanwhile, in the Czech court, the lower district court, he had filed an appeal against his extradition. But the lower court in Czech Republic okayed his extradition and his appeal did not hold. Then he challenged the decision of the lower court in the Czech High Court, which was again turned down and his extradition was okayed. So after that, in January this year, in the first week of January, Nikhil Gupta, through his lawyers, had approached the Constitutional Court in Czech Republic, which is the highest court in the country, equivalent to the Supreme Court in India. And he had challenged the human rights case that it's a political case that he is being dragged into. And the accusations don't hold. And he had even challenged that, there was no case and all of that. So the Constitutional Court, as we had reported consequently, had halted his extradition, saying that all the considerations, all the points he has raised in his appeal have to be given due consideration so that, there is no human rights violation which happens in the process if kind of haste is done in the case. So that process took a few months, but finally in May last month, the Czech Constitutional Court had also okayed his extradition. So soon after the case came back to the Department of Justice, within 10 days, they signed his extradition papers and another 10 days he was handed to the American authorities. As we now also see the video which was posted by the Czech police from the Friday night proceedings. And so he's finally now in a New York jail.
And Divya, what are the charges that Gupta faces in the United States?
So he's accused of plotting to kill an American citizen on American soil. That is essentially the charges against him. And of course, Gupta, through his lawyers, has denied those charges in the court on Monday. And then we'll now see how the court proceedings go further from here. But now the entire focus is on the court proceedings and how the case will unfold in due course.
And how has the Indian government reacted to this whole case?
Yeah, Indian government, see, all this case as per the indictment which came out in November only, when the indictment became unsealed and came out in the public domain. This entire case pertains to 1 year ago, to the May-June of 23, when this entire alleged plot was being hatched and, Gupta was apprehended. He was finally arrested in June. So the proceedings pertain to the month of May and June. But the indictment only came out in November. So when the indictment came out, Indian government had, rejected those allegations, saying it's not part of their policy to execute killings and, it's never been the part of Indian foreign policy. And they had also constituted a high-level committee ordering an inquiry into the allegations. And as of now, we don't know who are the members of the committee, but the committee, as per statements by the External Affairs Ministry, has been functioning and working on the case since November. We have no update on what they have found out, or the report has not been made public. We don't even know whether the report is ready or whether it's still in a work in progress. Interestingly, all this came out just within few months of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accusing India of killing another Sikh separatist, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, on its soil, in British Columbia. So, along with America accusing Indian citizen Nikhil Gupta of being involved in the plot, Canada also had said that they have reliable and credible information that some Indian officers are involved in the case. But Canada never shared any details as Indian government claims, no evidence, no proof. So, Indian government had gone ahead to refute Canada's allegations completely. However, in America's case, they say that, America has shared some information and they have constituted a committee to inquire into the allegations, which is, a matter of their own security concerns as well.
And Divya, what is the latest update in the case? What is happening right now?
So right now, as we know that Nikhil Gupta was, made an appearance in the New York court on Monday, American time, and where he, through his lawyers, denied all the charges and all the allegations that have been put against him of being involved in the plot. The indictment says that Gupta, on behalf of an Indian intelligence official, had conducted this operation to, hire the hitman and pay him some advance also. But India has gone ahead to refute this, and Gupta in the court completely refusing the charges and the allegations that have been put against him. We also learned that the US administration has been in touch with the Indian side on this case, but we don't know too many details of that so far. During the meeting of the national security advisors of both the countries last week, we hear that this, which incidentally came out, happened on the day the reports of Gupta's extradition came out. So, we think it is expected that this would have been mentioned, this would have been a part of the discussions, but we don't have any official word on it yet. So we have to see how proceedings take place in the court.
And in the end, we talk about the rising number of deaths due to the ongoing heat waves. With several parts of the country reeling under high temperatures, Union Health Minister JP Nadda yesterday ordered special heatwave units in central government-run hospitals to cater specifically to those fallen ill due to the intense heat this summer. So far, Delhi, for instance, has recorded at least 18 heat-related deaths from 23rd of May to 19th of June at the central government-run RML Hospital and the Safdarjung Hospital. As he reviewed the situation and the preparedness of central government hospitals across the country, Nadda also directed the officials to make sure that all hospitals are geared up to provide the best care to those who have fallen ill owing to the prevailing heatwave conditions. Earlier this month, the Health Ministry had urged the states and the union territories to carry out follow-up reviews to ensure dedicated heat stroke rooms and ORS corners. The ministry also asked them to start submitting daily data on heat stroke cases and deaths and the total deaths from 1st of March 2024 and instructed them to spread public awareness about the precautions to be taken to safeguard against extreme heat. JP Nadda took over the office of the Union Health Minister from Mansukh Mandavia recently after the formation of the new cabinet. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by Shashank Bhargav and me, Niharika Nanda. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.